you doing tonight? Welcome back to the cab. Alright, so I just completed my rest break. I am in San Diego, California. This is about as far south as you can go without being in Mexico. And we're headed to Winslow, Arizona. So let's get rolling. Everything seems to be working. There we go. Alright, let's get ready to get out of here. Truck stop's not too full tonight. So we're going to work our way up to Interstate 40 to get to Winslow, Arizona. Now, for those of you that don't know, I used to be a long haul truck driver. I drove for a company out of Mount Airy, and I used to pretty much live in California, so pretty familiar. So I'll tell you some stories along the way and enjoy the ride, guys. You know, this part of California is absolutely beautiful. My favorite part of California is the southern part, from LA south, Indio, El Centro, Brawley. I don't know if we have any subscribers or whatever from California area, but El Centro used to have this truck stop, and it was just called Sushi Park. So they had like a sushi restaurant, there was like a Mexican restaurant, it was just like one big area, and man, the food was so good. I used to love coming to El Centro just for that. But anyways, beautiful part of the state. Coachella, Palm Springs, all that stuff down that way on Interstate 8 and down on 10, all that stuff. Absolutely beautiful. So waiting on the longest red light in San Diego apparently, and we're gonna get rolling, headed up the interstate hopefully. So you know, throughout the miles traveled, you know, on the interstate, you get to talk to a lot of people, and you know, fortunately for me, I was one of those truck drivers that I got to come home every week. I was more or less like a Monday through Friday, which it might be like Saturday through Wednesday or Thursday or whatever. But so I hauled furniture out west most of the time, and then I'd haul produce back, go up to Salinas, down in Yuma, Nogales, all that stuff. So, you know, I definitely enjoyed the job. And this is kind of just like an introductory episode. What I'm going to be doing with this, you know, we have the GTA role play and everything we do over on the Crowbar Crew server. But I'm going to be like, you know, telling some stories from the road, telling some folklore stories that I think are really cool. You know, I know people watch this game to relax in the evening, that kind of thing, or, you know, so I've heard from people anyway. But, you know, it's not always just going to be me. Andrew's going to join me for some drives every now and again. But, you know, I think it'll be fun. And look at this guy coming up beside me. Jeez Louise, dude. Anyways, crazy drivers, just like real life. Imagine that. So anyways, you know, I think this will be a fun little series to do. And also, if my steering looks funny, it's because I'm playing with mouse and keyboard. You know, if you guys enjoy it, I may look into getting a steering wheel just for this game. I do like the game. I actually drove a Peterbilt 579 just like the one that I'm driving now, and I love that truck. But anyways, so, you know, when I used to drive, I drove night shift, and, you know, I would just listen to like podcasts and different kind of thing, which kind of was the inspiration in some ways around the basement. You know, we started as a podcast, and we've grown into so many different things. And, you know, we do gaming, we do outdoor content, we do all kinds of cool stuff. But anyways, guys, without further ado, as I'm coming out of San Diego, I'm going to share with you guys some stories. So I'm gonna daggone cars, man, sorry. So anyways, some things that, I heard, just like some tales I heard out on the road, and so on and so forth. So I was in Idaho one time, and I don't remember what the exit was. I don't even remember what the town was. We didn't go up into Idaho too often, but I remember running into a guy. We were near Famous Dave's. We were near that Famous Dave's there in whatever town that was in Idaho. And we had just come back from eating, was walking back to the truck. I was a team driver. And this guy, I started talking to him. And he was from Wyoming. And but he drove all over and that kind of stuff. So he was telling me about a story from when he was on Interstate 8, which is, oh my gracious, what happened? Did y'all see that? That was crazy. Anyways, he told me a story from when he was on Interstate 8, and he said it was really, really like overcast one night. If you guys ever drove through the desert, when it's a big bright moon, man, you can almost turn your headlights off and just drive. But he said it was very overcast, very dark in the desert. That's, I guess that's the other hand. When it's very, very dark out, the desert is definitely dark. But anyways, and he said his headlights caught a glimpse of something up through the way there. And he said, he thought it was a person walking, which, I mean, it's not unusual to see somebody walking on the interstate. Maybe late at night it's a little bit weird, but, it's not completely unusual. But anyways, he said that as he got closer, it looked like the thing was out in the road. So he said he started slowing down, and he got over more toward the dotted line, and then he lost sight of it. He lost sight of what he thought was a person. So he flipped his lights on dim and back on bright, and he said that he saw it again once he put his lights back on bright, and he said the closer he got, the more it looked like it was in the road. So he started slowing down. Well, he said then all of a sudden it just right in front of him, like right in the lane in front of him. He said he locked his brakes up. He said his trailer slid sideways, and he said that he had a whole mess. He said he almost jackknifed. And he always told me, he said, just remember when you're on Interstate 8, keep an eye out for the ghostly hitchhiker. And to me, I hear that story and I'm like, I don't know, man. But I really am into the ghost story thing. Like, I used to listen to a lot of ghost story podcasts when I drove, just because it was nighttime. It was a little creepy, but he swears by the story. Like, he told me 3 or 4 times, he's like, I'm not lying to you, this is 110% what happened. And man, this guy absolutely, he said he was shook. And there's a lot of truckers, they have similar stories being out on the road. A lot of people like to chalk it up to, oh, you're getting tired and whatever. But he said he had just come off his rest break not long before he started driving and saw that. So I mean, it is possible that you're fatigued and all that. But I believe some of these old heads when they say the stuff they saw, man, because they've put in a million miles or more, and they've been out here doing this thing. Man, I wish this guy would get over or go on. Jeez Louise. But I do like how, on this game, the trucks and stuff are hyper accurate, but the landscape seems to be fairly accurate too. There's definitely parts of Interstate 8 where you're just kind of winding through rocks like that, and then of course the windmills are everywhere. I remember mostly those on I-10 though. Thank you. Get out of my way. I gotta get these tires to Winslow. But anyways, Arizona was one of my favorite states when I drove the truck. I absolutely loved it. I always said if I had to move out west that I would move to Arizona. But there's I heard another kind of, paranormal tale from out in Arizona, and I actually heard this from a Native American fella that I had met. They ran a truck stop off of Interstate 40, and super cool little truck stop, man. I mean, they had everything in there. They had even like Native American, I believe it was the Hopi tribe, and they had like even Native American like headdresses and like all kinds of cool stuff, man. It was just pretty awesome. But he told me about there was a car accident, and here I am in El Centro, man. I wish Sushi Park was an option right now, because that was delicious food, I'm telling you. Hey, if y'all watch this and you know about Sushi Park, if it's still open or whatever, because I'm not a truck driver anymore, but if it's still open or whatever, just let me know. I was just curious about the place. But anyways, he was telling me about the exit right there, where the truck stop was. He said that there was a bad accident, that there was a car stopped and waiting at the stop sign down there at the bottom of the exit. And I really wish I could remember what town it was in Arizona. I believe it might have been around Sholo, maybe, but I really can't remember. I really wish I could, though. But he said there was a bad accident down at the bottom there, and that a car had pulled out in front of a vehicle that was passing by. Well, the person that pulled out in front of the car that was already on, it was actually, Route 66, and the person that pulled out in front of them lived, but the people in the vehicle that was already going that direction, they passed away. And he said it was a young Native American couple that had just gotten married. What? A speeding violation? What the world? I didn't see you sitting back here. I would have slowed down. But anyways, well, I'm in Arizona now. This California 55 thing, that should be done with. Man, so many pickups in Yuma. I know Yuma pretty well. Man, there was a guy, and I know I'm getting sidetracked from my story. I do have ADHD, but I'll get back to my story. But anyway, there was a guy that set up, I believe it was off of exit 3 or 4. Let's see, that one said Yuma Quartzsite. Yeah, it's definitely after the river crossing here, but I think it might be exit 4. Either way, wherever the Dole pickup place is, the Dole cooler, there was a guy, and he would drive out of Mexico every day, and he had a little food truck right there. Oh my goodness gracious, the best breakfast burrito I've ever ate in my entire life. So I wonder if he's still around too. So again, if you're out in that way and let me know. But anyhow, so he said it was a Native American couple. They'd only been married for just a little bit, like they were still celebrating, that kind of thing, and they unfortunately were killed. And so he said late at night, which was when the accident happened, he said that late at night, if you come to that stop sign and you don't completely stop at that stop sign and you don't look before you pull out, that couple will appear to you, and I guess in ghost form, or he didn't specify that, but he said that they would appear to you and just like give you the stare, like if looks could kill, you'd be done for, that kind of thing. So I believe that one, man, because when it comes to Native American stuff with the skinwalkers and the different, how spiritual they are as people, man, that one sent chills down my spine, really, because I used to stop there a lot to take my rest break. It was just a big open area, a cool little store, plenty of parking if you needed to park. So just kind of one of those that truckers look for. But yeah, that story always, and I've told that story before, but that story always got to me, man, because I really believe that. We're coming up on Dateland already. making our way up to Interstate 40 here very shortly. I've already taken my rest break, so we're gonna roll on and get this order delivered on time. It's hard to set your cruise at 75 on here because other cars don't be doing it, and then you get, then you hit somebody or something like that, and then you're the bad guy, you know what I mean? But anyways, I want to hear from you guys. Like, I want this to be an interactive thing. I want you to comment, like, oh, hey, I'm from here, or hey, I'm from Arizona, and the story you're talking about is on exit, whatever. Like, because some of the exits I can remember, like, I just drove through there yesterday, and some of them I just can't. But that one, I guess I can't remember because it was kind of out in the middle of nowhere. I can see it in my head. It's close to where the big dinosaur figures and stuff are. They have Route 66, one of those roadside attractions. And that was one of the coolest things for me as a truck driver. Is like, you always hear about Route 66. And, you watch these movies and they got like these little weird attractions beside the road. And the thing is that they really exist. They're really there. So, I'm like, these really, like, it blew my mind a little bit. Like, the meteor crater and, like I was just talking about those dinosaurs, and then, right at the, New Mexico, Arizona, border, so the western, New Mexico there, I think it's actually exit 359. You have that truck stop and like up in the plateau rocks, which are absolutely beautiful. You have the like the teepee and the Native American statues and like the fake fire and stuff. Like it's just somebody like me coming from Appalachia. I mean, yeah, we have strong Native American ties here, but when you think of Native American, you always think about the American West, or at least I do. And I'd never been out west. Like, the furthest west I ever been was like over in Alabama, like just west of Chattanooga down into Alabama, so just barely over in the Central Time. Didn't even know I was in Central Time. That's another story for another day. But anyways, that was long before I drove a truck, and I remember the first time I ever went out with my trainer, I could barely sleep because I wanted to see everything. Like, I'm like, oh man, little did I know that I would end up seeing it all more times than I cared to, some of it. But it was just one of those things, like, it was just so amazing. And Route 66 to actually be like it is on TV, so to speak, that was just kind of surreal to me, a little bit crazy. But there's so many little towns that that I-40 really hurt, because Route 66 wasn't the thing anymore. And some of those little towns are super cool. You got like Shamrock, Texas, for example. That's a cool little town, but there's really nothing there anymore. But let's see what I'm coming up on now. 85 north to Phoenix. I'm assuming we're going to go up 17 here and come into Flagstaff. That's what I would assume. Yep, that's what we're going to do. We're going to get on 85 north, head toward Phoenix, and pick up 17 and go up to Flagstaff. But anyways, yeah, I definitely want to hear from you guys. I want to hear about, where you're from, and if you're a trucker, or, if you've ever been out this way or drove out west or whatever. And we're not always going to be in the west. We'll be in the west a lot on this series, but we won't always be out here. But, just kind of, as silly as it may seem, I know it's a game, but just kind of revisiting places that I've been in my life. But yeah, I'm gonna I'm gonna let y'all follow along as I deliver this load of tires. And they're flashing their lights at me because my lights are on bright. And honestly, I don't. Let's see. I'm gonna have to follow this guy all the way out through here. That's one thing about when I drove truck. Now, of course, you know, you get a big heavy load on you, you can't go that fast anyway, but our trucks weren't governed at 65 and like, you know, some of these other companies and stuff. I worked for a mom and pop's company, and it was still to this day the best company I've ever worked for. And but you know, I have a family, I have kids, and you know, being gone all the time, I was missing out on watching them grow up, that kind of thing. And I just decided that I wasn't going to do that. And you know, now I'm a single parent and got my kids all the time, so it's definitely not an option anymore. But oh, that's not the right button. But anyways, so you know, you'd get a big heavy load on and you'd have to slow down. But even still then, like especially on my way out west, because that furniture was light, and so like I'd run up on trucks so fast, and you know, I had to really be careful. Get some plants out of the road. Must have been some tumbleweed. I'll tell you another cool little place in Arizona that I really thought was cool. We'll talk about Tombstone on a different episode, but Wickenburg, that place is super cool. Like, it almost seems like your stereotypical quote-unquote western town when you drive through there. I really liked Arizona. It was really cool. Y'all ever been through Flagstaff on around Christmas out there at the Sinclair station? Is that what it's called? Sinclair? It's got the dinosaur or whatever. But anyways, they have their little Christmas light display up and stuff, and it was super cool. That truck stop is nice too. They got like a big jacuzzi tub. You can go in there and take a bath. Now, I'm not big on baths, at least not until I showered, but it was nice to be able to relax a little bit and lay in that tub. Yep, just like I remember it. Lots of bridges and lots of lights in Phoenix. Excessively speeding as well. I'm just trying to get these tires on time. I don't need another speeding ticket though, I'll tell you that. There we go, we'll lock the cruise in at 66 until we get on up the road here. This stretch that I'm about to get on, up to 17, that's a pretty stretch of highway too. Like, you go through the desert with the big tall cactus there. I'm not 100% sure what you call them, but the Sonoran Desert. It's absolutely beautiful. It really is. I remember the first time I came through there, I was absolutely, like, I kept, you know, all through, like, on I-40, I kept looking for the big tall cactuses with all the arms on them and stuff that, you know, that you see. And I just never did see them. And I was like, man, I gotta see me one of them cactuses. And then finally one morning, I left from Flagstaff and was headed down to Phoenix. I slept in Flagstaff for the night because I just came across 40. And come on down to Phoenix the next morning. And I finally saw me some of them cactuses down here in the Sonoran Desert. But I'll tell you one thing, buddy. That day in Phoenix is when I learned about Phoenix heat. Had to turn the reefer on just to unload the furniture out of the truck, which normally we didn't have to unload, but on this particular day they asked if we could help because they were short staffed, so we didn't care. Man alive, it was like, you know, 9 a.m. local time, and it's already 104 degrees. Like, it was something else. That was the same trip that we had to keep pulling over and spraying our reefer down with water because it was so hot. We had to come through Death Valley area. It got up to 127 degrees. Get off them rumble strips. But yeah, like, this is kind of an introductory video to this series. But what I'm going to be doing is, honestly, this probably will be the longest video. Let me keep it in my daggum lane. This will probably be the longest video of the series. But, you know, I'm going to tell tales that I've heard out on the road. I've told a couple already. But, you know, that's what I'm going to be doing with it. Like, it's just going to be a fun little series, you know, kind of tales from the interstate. And that's what I'm, you know, that's kind of the direction we're hoping to go. Cottonwood and show love. So like I said, yeah, this will probably be the longest video. I won't always draw it out, you know, all the way from where I take my rest stop or where I pick up my load all the way to the destination. But I want to do it just for the first time, so you guys that don't already know me can get to know me. Or if you watch our GTA role play, you know, Zim Mudstone over there, you know, he's a whole nother character, that guy. So, you know, this is going to kind of be the hangout spot. Late night watch, you're getting sleepy, throw this on, that kind of thing. Alright, we're getting up to 75 now. As soon as I get my cruise set, we'll run into traffic. Sun's starting to come up. We done made it a good little ways tonight. Uh-oh. Somebody got pulled over there. Something big going on. Coming up on the 40 junction, you know, Flagstaff, up there on right just west of Flagstaff, so still kind of up on the mountain there. First time I seen a mountain lion, you know, in my travels out west. And buddy, when I tell you that thing was like, it looked like its snout was about on the dotted line, and its tail was still hanging over the white line that was coming out of the woods. I ain't never seen nothing like that in my life. Run out of the road, or I might have to get me a steering wheel. But anyways, that thing was massive. Like, I don't know if that's like abnormally large. Somebody broke down. I don't know if that's abnormally large mountain lion or if that's just about average. But man, that thing was massive. I couldn't believe it. I also remember when I saw my first elk. And I believe it was in that same area, but that was on my very first trip out. Alright, let's hit 40 east going toward Albuquerque here. Albuquerque's another cool little city. Came through there one time when they were doing their air balloon deal. Man, this looks a lot like Flagstaff. Like I said, I know it's just a game, but this really puts me in the mindset of Flagstaff. That's really cool. Merge onto the interstate here. Ain't nothing coming. It's too early in the morning for everybody. Hey, I wonder if that's supposed to be the... Oh shoot, I need to quit sightseeing. Yeah, that's the Sinclair station I was talking about right there. There was also like a drive-through wildlife zoo in this area. I remember seeing that. Like, what was it called? Bear something, Arizona. I want to say Bear Town, but that's a town in West Virginia. But what was it, Arizona they called it? Either way, like you could drive through and see the bears and all that kind of stuff. I never got to do it, of course, because I was always in a truck. But you know, taking my kids out west, maybe in an RV or renting something like that. That's definitely on my bucket list of things to do. Just because I think it's something everybody should experience if it gets a chance. I know not everybody gets the chance to go out west or whatever, but man, if you do get the chance, absolutely take it. It is awesome. Just to see, again, I come from Appalachia, so it's a lot different. I mean, yeah, we have our mountains and that kind of thing, but they're not, it's not the same type of mountains, really. So, it's just really cool. Like, I think the highest point in West Virginia is 5,000 some feet, and Flagstaff is 10,000 some feet. Our GPS used to show elevation, and it's way up there. I'm approaching Winslow now. I'm going to get to my destination. And, I feel like I wanted to see Winslow. I remember we're in Navajo County. I definitely remember that. But anyways, I felt like I wanted to go to Winslow because of the Eagles song when he talked about standing on the corner of Winslow, Arizona. I gotta quit running out of road. But anyways, yeah, I feel like, this looks like the exit that the pilot was on. But may not be, I don't know. It does sure look a lot like it though. Gotta yield. I don't see nothing. Alright, that's good. So it looks like the place I'm dropping off. Is that supposed to be a Del Taco? Because let me tell you something. We got Taco Bell over here in the east. Del Taco, I'm telling you right now. Actually, I just discovered that there was a Del Taco in Orlando. We had made a video about when we were in Florida, so go check that out if you haven't. But man, Del Taco just slaps. Now, the one in Coachella was the one I really liked. There was another one I ate at, I think it was Barstow maybe, and the menu just wasn't the same. I don't know. But anyways, yeah, this has been a cool little adventure. I really enjoy retelling tales that I've heard from the interstate and having you guys follow along with me on my journey here. Let's make sure nothing's coming. So you got a stop sign too? No, it don't appear that he does. I'm glad I looked before I pulled out, because that would have tore up my truck and that cost me lots of money. Say, is that a WRX? Look like it. Anyways, let's get it going. Almost there. Don't want to be late. They'll be calling me, wanting to know where I'm at. Man, got some new Ford trucks up here. Damn, you can't see right here. That wall's in the way. God, I ain't never gonna get out of here. I'm just gonna have to take the road here in a minute. That's exactly what's about to happen right here as soon as this car gets around. Go on, buddy. What kind of roads they got me there? This is definitely a truck restricted road. You can't tell me otherwise. I don't know. We're so close. Man, I'm gonna have to get fuel too. Daggone. Looks like an old C10 parked over here. NFL trade me. Peterbilt for his old C10. Oh, that's gonna be tight. Looks like maybe. little bit. What's the clearance? No, we took 20 foot. We're good. I feel like his GPS did me dirty this time. Let's see what we got up here. I just had to make sure I wasn't coming into no stop sign out of there. Coming in hot. Coming in hot. Here where we going, it looks like. Yeah, that's gonna be it. So, appreciate you guys riding along with me. Anybody that's out on the road, be safe. And everybody else, y'all take it easy. Try to keep the wheels down.